All right, welcome you guys. You probably got an email from an admin or somebody told you, hey, watch this video. We're about to start this program. Get yourself up to speed. This video is Carely Community 101, and we're going to make sure that you guys have all the tools, all the verbiage, all the language you need to use this platform confidently. But let me iterate and let me emphasize something. There's no reason to be intimidated. We designed this solution so that it's super simple to use. Shouldn't be hard to figure out, and in 20 minutes, maybe 25, I'm going to get you guys through all the main features, functionality, so that you guys can get up and running in no time and be off and running with families and engaged. We've done this at hundreds of communities across the country. We've gotten pretty good at getting you guys onboarded. We're still working out some of the kinks logistically, but we want to make it simple. So we're really trying to reiterate, hence this video. We want to make it simple for you guys to kind of do on your own time, to get up to speed and get going. So let's dive in. I'm going to give you guys a walkthrough and we'll go from there. So the first thing you got was an email, an invite from your org admin, from your executive director, from your RDO, inviting you to join. So the first thing you want to do is log in. So go to the link, go to community.care.ly, and you're going to use that username, which is typically just your email. So let me get logged in here. And then it gave you some sort of crazy auto-generated password. And you'll use that one time, and then I'll show you how to change it next. So the first thing we want you guys to do, before you click on your location, which you should be seeing now, the first thing we want you to do is update your profile. And the reason we want to update your profile, which is down here in the left corner, so we're going to go click on that arrow, we're going to click My Profile. The reason we want you to update that profile is because this is what families are going to see. So we'll walk you through the different apps, the family experience a little bit too, but know that this is, what's showing here is what families are going to see when you're communicating back and forth to them or they're reaching out to you. All your info, your profile picture, all that stuff. So add a profile picture, whether you use your LinkedIn profile or you just take a selfie on your phone, put something in there so that families have a face with the name. Second, make sure the name is right. Make sure your email address is right, your phone number is right, your title's right. All that stuff is going to be visible to the families on the other end. So you just want to make sure that it's correct. The last thing I want you guys to focus on here for your first time is changing your password. Don't try to use that auto-generated password that we sent you. Make sure you change your password to something that's easy to remember, right? You're not going to have to log in every single time. We've managed to make it so that it can stay secure, and typically I think we reset every 10 days where you'll have to log in again. But make it something that's easy to remember or something you use elsewhere. That'll just keep it simple for you guys there. So to change your password, you click on this change your password, you put your new password in, you repeat it, and then you submit. Boom, done. Okay, so we've updated our profile. The next thing I want you guys to do is download the Carely Community app. Oftentimes I get folks waiting too long to download the app. Make it the first thing you do. Everything is HIPAA compliant, PHI compliant. I'll walk you guys through that process a little bit further into the video, but know that you can use this on your personal device. It's not a problem, and I'll explain to you why specifically that is. But go into your app store, download the Carely Community app. So I'm going to do that here. So if you look at the screen, I've got my phone up. I go into the App Store. And I'm just going to search for Carely, C-A-R-E-L-Y. Make sure you spell it right. Okay, you have a couple apps come up. You'll see the Carely Family app, or Family Caring, with the purple icon. And then you'll see the Carely Community with the white icon. You are going to want to use the Carely Community app. What families will use when you invite them to join or participate is the Carely Family app. Now, there's a lot of reasons why we had to create two separate platforms, but you'll see sort of the complexity and sort of the features that families don't need or have access to that'll show up in Carely Community. It's just it's a very different use case, user experience. So it's very two distinct users. So make sure you download Carely Community. That's the first stumbling block. Get the right app on your phone. You're good to go. So we're going to download that app. Same thing, you'll use the same login that you signed up with the website. And as I'm showing you guys the demo of this app, know that Carely Community and the Carely website, for the most part, 90% of the things you can do on the web, you can do on the mobile app, and vice versa. Almost 100% of the things you can do on the mobile app, you can also do on the web. So whatever's easiest at the time, if you're sitting in front of your computer, you can log in online. If you're out and about in the community, which most of you are going to be doing, your activities directors, your RDOs, your liaisons, social work, you guys are going to be out and about on the day-to-day. most of your use of Carely Community is going to be on the mobile phone. So I will show you a couple use cases there as well too. Okay, so I've got the Carely Community mobile app. Let me open that up. And since it's already logged me in, it's going to load up. Okay, so that was step one. Step two is we need to get the resident list added. So depending on who you are, you may already be logging in and seeing a resident list. So if I go to my locations here on the left and I have a location, I'm going to click on that location. I may already be seeing residents here. That means somebody else took care of this step already, and you can stop paying attention for the next 2 minutes. But if you don't see any residents here, this is what I really need you guys to do. There's two ways to get your residents uploaded. One is the super easy automatic way, which is we turn on a point-click care integration and it automatically gets those people in there, and then it automatically updates them every time there's a new admit or someone leaves. But more than likely, that's going to take time. We'll have to work with home office. We'll have to work with an org admin or a regional director to get that set up. And quite frankly, we don't need to take weeks to get that done so that you guys can start using it. The best way to do it, and what we recommend everybody do, is go into that EMR and just either export or copy and paste a list of resident names and birth dates. If you could send that to us in an Excel spreadsheet, just either send it to me directly at mike@care.ly or our support@care.ly. We can actually get that updated for you guys in under an hour, and we'll have all your residents here. And it doesn't matter if it's 200, it doesn't matter if it's 50. Just get us that list. We can get them uploaded for you to get you started. That's the most important thing. And again, I think that's even more important than inviting other teammates, especially if you're the first one that's getting exposure here, if you're an executive director or admin at your community. Let's get those residents added before you invite those teammates to join, which is actually going to be our next step. That way, when they get there for the first time, they're already seeing it. They sort of get a sense of what this is all about. It's a family engagement tool. It's a communication tool. We're going to use this to communicate not only with around our residents, but with those families. And so we'll get into inviting them here in a second. So I'm going to get our residents added. Send us the Excel spreadsheet, resident's name in one column, or first and last name in the first two columns, and then birth date, so that we can make sure we don't, so that we get them all right, names right, etc. Okay, that was step two. Step three, we want you guys to now create your team. All right, we got to get some other folks in the community invited. If you're a ED or you're an admin, you're probably going to play a pretty significant role here. Obviously, you have relationships with the families as well. You're answering questions, you're responding to concerns, complaints, or you're sending out communications about change in policies, change in visitation, all of that stuff. So you're definitely going to be an active user in it. But what we find is that the folks like activities, your resident care liaisons, your social workers, even your front desk reception, often is playing a much more active role in the day-to-day within Carely Community, because they're the ones that are really interacting with the residents, they're interacting with families, they're taking the photos of the events and the activities, and as residents are engaging. So those folks are going to be really in their day-to-day. So that's who we're recommending you then invite. So let me turn your attention here. One of the features you can't do in the mobile app is managing your team. So I'm going to go over here to the Manage Users tab. This is where all of our team members are going to be located. So again, if you've already been invited by a location admin and you've got a bunch of team members in here, not to worry. You also, if you're a location user, not a location admin, this is not going to apply to you. You won't have the ability to invite other users. You're sort of lowest on the totem pole if that's the case. But if you are a location admin and you're needing to create your team, this is how you do it. You're going to click on the Manage Users tab, and you're going to invite a user. And then you're just going to enter in their email address, their name, and their role. You can add more location admins. We often see an ED add an assistant ED or a activities director here, so that they can then invite their staff underneath them as well too. So that's a helpful feature. Other than inviting new team members, there really isn't any difference between the two different roles, and we can always change it later. So don't get too caught up on this one. You hung up on it. Once you choose a role, you'll send that. So then they'll get an invite just like you got. It invites them to join, auto-generated password, and then you can send them this video and they can go right through it. Circle of life. So we want to get your team added. The other thing I would recommend, that email didn't have a lot of color in it, explaining this app, talking about it. I would recommend, especially if you're starting this out at your location, sending an email ahead of time. And one of the great resources for that, if you actually click on this tag over here, this tab titled Resources, we've got a whole bunch of really great collateral and things that you can use not only to educate families, but also educate your team internally about what this is. So we've got an email template here that you can use to send out an email. It just, again, provides you with some good language about what the app is, what it's designed for. We've got a flyer in here, a PDF that you can attach to that email. We've even got a big onboard your location guide that you guys can kind of look through and troubleshoot on different topic areas. You can go in deep on some of the things I'm talking about, provide you with some really good illustrations on how to do stuff. And then also the stuff for families, right? You can share this stuff on your Facebook page. You can share it via email. You name it. You can print this stuff out. You can have it printed nicely at a local print store. You can just print it on your printer here in the office. Having that stuff available that you can just hand to family, especially in the early days when you don't have sort of the 30-second pitch down, that can also be really helpful too. So there's some really great resources in here. We've got some of our logos and stuff too if you want to reuse that stuff. Up to you. Just making you aware of it, that it's in resources at your disposal. Okay, so now that we've gotten our residents added, we've gotten our team invited, let's talk a little bit about the next step, which is how do we use the app? What are we using the app for? So what I like to do here is really walk you guys through some of the use cases. So I've got 4 sort of main use cases that sort of encapsulate everything we're going to be doing with this app. And those 4 are community-wide posts, individual care feed posts, team notes, and just responding to any questions or family feedback that comes through. So let's walk through that first one, community-wide post. This is by far and away just the most simple, clear-cut use case that you can think of, right? This is a community-wide announcement or a broadcast. Where we're going to do that from, again, we can do it in the web or we can do it in the mobile app. But where I'm going to demo this is in the website. So if I go over here to the community feed and I click on the plus button, I can enter in a community-wide post. So let's say something like, we have updated our visitation policy again, and we'll be sending a letter out in the next couple days. If you have questions, please feel free to call. Ooh, my typing is bad. Okay, so you can see the post. I could add a photo. So if I have like a photo of a flyer or something that we would be sending out, I can attach that. Again, it's up to you guys. Another use case here for a community-wide post is maybe you want to send out a picture of an event or a flyer from an event that's coming up that family are welcome to attend. I mean, you guys can get creative, but think, this is a communication that's going to be going out to all the families within our community or in all of our residents' families at our community. And so once I type the post, I can add a photo, and then I can click post. So again, that's going to go out as a community-wide post. It's going to go to all of our residents or all of our care circles. Right? Resident is a care circle. And all families are going to get notified about that post. And I'll walk you through some of the intricacies there in a little bit. But pretty cool feature, right? So we're seeing a lot of creativity here. We're seeing a lot of great community-wide posts, especially given how creative activities directors have been in the last 6 months with dealing with this pandemic. Being able to share that creativity, how much effort you guys are putting in and day out to families in a really simple, really quick, efficient manner is a fantastic use of this platform. So increasing visibility into community activities and programs, supplementing how those announcements are going out, that's going to be your primary use case for a community-wide post. Okay. Second thing is going to be individual posts, or even more specifically, sharing photos with individual families. So, again, you guys are working with families, you guys are engaging with residents day in and day out. You're doing 10x what you were doing at the end of the year last year, because you're having to be X times more creative to engage with residents, keeping them safe at the same time. So we want to capture that stuff. We want to highlight that stuff and share it with families. And how do we do that? So if I go over here and I click on Care Circles, and I'm going to demo this in both places. I'm going to click on Michael Smith. He's my favorite one to demo with. So here you can see Michael Smith's care feed. So very similar to the community care feed, we have a care feed for each one of our residents. And this is where all the activity and all the communication with that family or that care circle is going to be located, right? Simple. Same thing over here on the mobile app. If I click on that button at the bottom, it says Care Circles. It's going to pull up my same resident list. I'm going to click on Michael Smith. Same care feed, right? Right over here on the web. I'm going to see the same thing over here once it gets loaded up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a post with Michael Smith's family. So I'm an activities director. Michael is participating. We did a little fun. We did a root beer float Friday, and we stopped by his room, and he seems like he's in a great mood. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to create a care feed post. Click that button. Stopped by Michael's room for a few minutes today. He was in great spirits. Took a picture of his Priya robot. He seems to be loving it. Okay, it's spelled Priya wrong, but that's not unexpected, I suppose. Okay, and I'm going to add a photo. And I'm actually going to take a photo right now. There's his Priya. Bam. Use the photo. Crop it. Here, let's go square. There we go. And we're going to post. So while that's loading up, let me talk to you a little bit about posting photos from your personal devices. So this is obvious. This gives, the compliance folks a little bit of heartburn when they think about it. But let me address this head on. HIPAA compliant, PHI compliant through and through. As long as you're taking the photo within the app, just like I did, it does not store that photo on your device. It puts it immediately into our cloud, which is on Google's cloud, which we have a BAA. They are completely HIPAA compliant on their cloud services with us. We pay extra for that so that we can pass that on to you guys. So this is completely safe. If you were taking the picture in your photo app and then storing it on your device and then pulling it into Carely, that may go against your guys' company policy. So that's where I would caution you. If you're going to take the photo, take it in the app, just like I did in a post it that way. Keep everybody on the up and up. It's just as simple anyway, and you can put it right into the care feed. No stops, no second, no duplicative entry at all. That's the fastest, most efficient way to do it anyway. So just stick to that way and you'll stay safe. So following through on this, you can see sort of the care feed, how that was posted here. If I refresh over here on the website, it should load that post as well right to the top of this care feed. And now the family is going to get notified. They're going to be able to click on that. They're going to be able to add comments. They're going to be able to add reactions. They're going to say, yes, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. We're seeing more photos than we ever imagined. In the last 3 months, the number of photos that have been shared and uploaded to families has increased by almost 5,000% across every location we've shared. That is amazing. We really, really want to encourage you guys to really share those experiences, share those smiles, share those fun events that you guys are doing, because that's what families are really hoping is happening. That's what families are doing. So again, we want to increase engagement, we want to increase that satisfaction with the family. We want to reduce some of that worry, some of that anxiety right now. These are great ways to do that. And again, simplify the photo sharing process, right? If you guys are taking photos and you're capturing these things, let's make sharing those with the families that simple, right? This is a great way to not only document it, but also to share it with the family so that they get to experience it as well. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about team notes. So this is a newer feature that we've added. We think it's really great. We've heard a lot of great things about it. It often flies under the radar though, so that's why I'm addressing it now. Team notes is a way for you guys, the folks that are using Carely, to share internally maybe an update about an interaction with a family that you want to make everybody else aware of. So where does this come into play? Let's say I took a phone call today from a family member. Maybe I'm an ED. Family member stopped by my office. We'll say in person. So we'll say it's 2019. They stopped by my office. They had some concerns they wanted to voice with me. Maybe they were upset about something. So what I'm going to do as the ED now is I'm going to document that in Carely so that everybody else on the team, all the other relationship folks, can also have that experience in the back of their minds, so that if they have this interaction with the family, they can sort of be cognizant of it. So what I'm going to do in here, again, I'm in Michael Smith's care feed. I'm going to click that plus button. I'm going to create a team note. And I'm going to say, talked to Michael Smith today, Michael's son, and he had some concerns about Dad's lack of progress around therapy. Period. Okay, I can add a note type. Say this was in-person communication. I could add a photo if I wanted. Not necessary here. And I'm going to post that. So pretty much the identical process for creating a post for this family member, or for this care circle, sorry. But instead, this is going to only be shared internally. So while it is showing up in Michael Smith's care feed, our team, Carely community users, are going to be the only ones that see that. So it doesn't get disseminated to the family at all. It's completely protected. You don't ever have to worry about it crossing over, because they can't get in here, only you can. So what can we do with this? Now, staff members could also contribute. We could add, other team members could add comments here. We could ask questions about the interaction if we're not very clear. We could also add a reaction, hey, thumbs up, got the message, etc. So cool little feature we've added. Last thing is, and this may seem obvious, but just making sure that you're responding to and interacting with families as they interact with you. So families have the option to share content with you. They can send you messages, they can share posts. So if they come and do a visit, they could take the picture, they could share it with the care feed and tag you guys in it. Make sure you're engaging with those folks, right? That's them reaching out to you. Make sure you're responding. So just like a family may do to one of your posts, feel free to jump in there and comment on a family's post or add a reaction to a family's post, because they'll see that. They'll know that you're listening. And again, it only takes 2 seconds, right? You're going to get the notification in the app. Every time a family member shares a post with you, you'll get the notification. Click the notification. It'll take you right to it. Add a reaction. Add a thumbs up. Right here, we can add a like. Do that. Families respond to that. It's a really, really big deal. I can't tell you how many times we've talked to families at some of these communities, and the first thing they tell us is how excited they are when you guys are responding to their posts, when you're thanking them for sharing a comment with you. That goes a long way, providing that sort of full circle sort of interaction, so that it doesn't feel like the message is going into the black box, right? So that's what I would encourage you guys to do, is just be responding to those. The second thing I want to talk about is messaging. We have HIPAA compliant messaging within Carely and Carely community. Not a lot of families use it, but for staff and teams that are aware of it, it can be a really, really powerful tool for you guys to have sort of a one-on-one engagement where you need to sort of problem solve with a family member, where you need to get somewhere, or you need to get something done, you need to get maybe more of something in, maybe mom needs more pajamas, or Michael Smith needs more of his socks, whatever it is. Rather than posting that to the care feed, you could actually send a direct message to a son who is coming in weekly. So how do we do that? So you can see it here on the screen. I'm pointing over here, but you're looking at it right ahead. You're probably looking at it right here or right here. Click that messages tab, and you have sort of a full-on messaging experience. Now again, this should look familiar if you've used Facebook or you've used Instagram. It's just DMs, right? It's just messaging. So I can go in here, I can click plus, I can choose who in that care circle I want to talk to, and I can start a conversation with them. Say, hey Jared, did you have a chance to bring your dad some socks this week? His were getting a little old, period. Okay, and I can send that to him. Again, without getting too technical on you guys, what I want you to understand about this chat is it's the real deal. This stuff is like real time. It's built in Google's Firebase, which again, probably too technical. It's too technical for me. But understand that this experience that you'll have with families is in real time. So they could be, there's no lag in that thing going in and out of the community. Even if you've got really a poor Wi-Fi signal, this is going to happen really, really fast. And that's really great, because when a family member is, say, at work, or they're tied up in something else. They can't talk on the phone. There's phone tag. This eliminates a lot of that. Even if they can't respond now, they can surely respond in a couple of minutes. It's just like text. It's just like chat, So really cool feature. We encourage you guys to use that. Play with it a little bit as you get going. One of the really cool things we saw a community do that we've encouraged other communities to use is every time you see a new family member join a care circle, which you'll be alerted on, every time you see a new family member, send them a message. Say, hey, thanks for joining. Excited to have you here. Can't wait to share more about what's going on in the community. That lets them know that you're there, that you're engaged and you're ready and you're willing to talk to them anytime they've got a question. It opens the door. And to be quite honest, most of them don't message, won't use the messaging. They don't feel the need. But that experience for them, that satisfaction knowing that you are there and ready to answer a question the moment it comes up, that's a great, great thing to be able to offer to folks. And it goes a long way just offering. So that's messaging. So that was sort of the main chunks. Those are the 4 use cases we really want you guys to focus on now. Keep in mind that there is a lot you can do with those, say, 4 main components to the app, and you guys can get creative with it. We're seeing some amazing things happen once teams get comfortable, once they get familiar with the app and all of its functionality. One of the things I sort of glossed over, I don't know if you noticed it, you can see it here on the screen, sort of this care circle. You can see the family here. But you can also click on the Details tab. Now, this is really, really handy. It's not something I typically point out in demos, but I'm here, so why not? Really cool feature of the mobile app. You're out and about in the community. You need to know who the family is, who are their points of contact, that type of stuff. A lot of times that stuff is buried on your computer. Pretty tough to get to when you're on the east wing and you're about to go into an activity or you need to talk to somebody. With this, we actually have that information right at our fingertips. So I click on Details. I can click on Mike Aidsani. Well, let me use Jared Fleener so I don't confuse you. Jared Fleener, I can see that his relationship, he's a son. I got his email address here. He doesn't list his phone number, so he doesn't want me to call him. But I can also see these roles. So these roles are roles that we have assigned to him, right? So he doesn't see these, but we know sort of I could talk to him about financial issues. He's a general POA, etc. And we have those on file. I can also use the app from here to message him. So I could click on Message, and that's going to take me right to that messaging window. And I go back, I can send him an email. It's going to take me right to my phone's native email service. So just a really cool, simple, efficient way to talk directly to a family. If you need to get information, you've got it right there at your fingertips. You don't have to go digging it up in your CRM and call somebody who's got access to it. It's all right here for everybody to have access to. Okay, so next thing we want to do. We're at the point now, we're comfortable using the app. We've got our team set up. We've got our residents set up. We got to start inviting the families. Got to do it. That's the next step. We got to take the plunge. Got to just go for it. So here's what we do. We go in here and we recommend you guys take it in chunks. Let's go 5 to 10 at a time, maybe 5 to 10 a day for a week, maybe 20 a day if you can handle it. But what we have to do is we have to click in each individual care circle. And we need to click on this little icon right next to the care circle. It's a plus button. It's as tiny as can be. Next to this little purple icon or changing color icon when I hover over it, that's going to be where we invite people. You can also do it in the mobile app. It's a little easier, a little more obvious in the mobile app. So if I go into, again, Michael Smith's care feed, and I click on Details, if I click that purple plus button over here in the mobile app, right here, that's going to pull up an invite window. So again, same thing in the mobile app, name, first and last, and email address. Once I fill that information in and I click send invite, that's going to send them an email that is branded with all of our stuff. So our logo, our photo of the building, it's going to have me as the sender, as the staff member as the sender, so that they know it's coming from you. So there's not going to be any confusion. They're not going to get a random email from an app company that they've never heard of before. This is going to look and feel like a communication from you guys. So no worries there. No need really to, I think, pre-educate them on this thing. I mean, you feel free if you want to send out like a big, broad email about what you're doing in this partnership with Carely. But it's the easiest way to do it. Now I know, you have to do it one by one. That's kind of tough. We are working on the integration with PCC so that it'll automate that invite to the family members to join. But again, we get a little bit apprehensive about that because you guys have the relationships with families, not us. So you know who in the family member you maybe want to start with, which 20 families, 30 families you want to start with initially to get your feet under you, get confident in using the app. But, just take it in chunks, go slow, be comfortable. We don't want you guys to feel rushed. We don't want you to get anxious about this. Invite those families at your own pace. Now, that being said, we do really, really want you to get to 100% utilization. So what is utilization? So if you remember, if you looked at this care feed, there's this big number here. It says 90.9% utilization. What does that mean? So utilization, how we measure success for you guys at the communities is how many care circles did you invite a family to? So of my 100 care circles, how many of them did I invite a family member to? The reason that's sort of the benchmark for success, well, there's two reasons for it. One, we just want you guys to make sure that every family or every care circle has a family member that's been invited to join. And two, they don't actually have to download the app to consider that a utilization. So let me explain that a little bit more because that's the important piece. We have something we call omni-channel communication. So let's go into a care circle. So if I look at Michael Smith, I look at his care circle, I can see that he has the joined and invited. So Jared and Mike Aidzani have joined, but Dave, Nathan, and Amanda, Panda, have been invited, but they haven't joined. So what does that mean? So they just decided they didn't want to download the app. Maybe they have a flip phone still. Maybe they just don't like apps. Who knows what it is? They don't want to download the app. That's fine. Because we've invited them, any communication we send to Michael Smith, so this amazing post that we just sent 30 seconds ago, that's not only is that going to be delivered to Jared and Mike via the app, the family app, it's also going to be sent to Dave, Nathan, and Amanda via whatever preferred method of communication they have. So if we sign them up or we invited them via email, it's just going to be delivered to them via email. Why is that a big deal? Well, if you make sure to get to that 100% utilization number, we can now use Carely Community as our de facto communication tool community-wide. So we can count on Carely Community to deliver the message to the appropriate person as long as we've got that invite sent out. Now, I know some of us, we don't have emails for every family. I get it. Sometimes 100% is going to be an impossibility, and we got to work to get those emails. We got to work to get that family contact in there. But I understand that that's going to be the case, and you're going to have to use a more traditional method of communication with those families, phone or pigeon, or whatever, telegram. But understand that as long as we get the invite out, we can communicate with that family member. No problem whatsoever. And you're going to have care circles where family members don't join. One other sort of small benefit, again, to this is that for those family members that were invited that didn't join, that reminder that this is available is always going to be sort of fresh and on their mind. Dave and Nathan and Amanda, almost, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's almost 3 out of 4 within a month download the app because they're seeing the communication, they're seeing the cool stuff, they're seeing the engagement, they're seeing all this great, stuff that they're not missing but unable to sort of participate in, and it essentially kind of nudges them to download the app. So we typically have a 30 to 60 day delay from all of the holdouts, but oftentimes we see them converted and downloading the app. So then they get that full-on experience where they can communicate and chat and that sort of stuff. If you're ever curious, feel free to also download that family app. We saw that one in the App Store. Feel free to download the family app just to get a sense of what the family experience is like. You can go in there and you can create a free user account, that kind of stuff. Again, the family app itself, we have, I think, 25,000 families all over the world that use the app without a provider present. And it's an incredible tool for family members to communicate back and forth around their loved ones. When the provider is a Carely community provider, the experience is obviously even better because now I can talk to the provider and the team at mom's, facility or community, and it's great. That's why we designed this ecosystem the way we did. But understand, and this is a really important point I think for you guys too, when you invite families to join, you may not be seeing them actively participating. You may not see a lot of direct communication or response to the content, the posting that you're doing. But two parts of that. Understand that one, they're viewing it. We see it all the time, and we'll share that data with you. You'll be able to see your engagement rocket. If you get those invites out, I promise you, and we've done this at hundreds of communities now, that engagement number will rocket. Within a month or two, you're going to see a massive, massive increase in the amount of times family members are engaging with that content, and they're adding more people to that care circle. Right? It's not just one person. They're inviting their brother, their sister's husband, nieces, nephews. They're inviting them to join those care circles, and that's up to them, right? Once they establish that care circle, they can invite whoever they want to join it. The second piece of that is they're doing a lot of stuff just amongst themselves, sharing posts, sharing interactions, all the stuff that you're doing as a provider, they're also doing. So just understand, get them invited, and we'll be good to go. So that's the main stuff I want to focus on. I think my battery is going to die, so I'm going to end it now before I run out of tape here. Hope you guys have a better sense, maybe a little bit more confident in this. We're going to do a little bit more. We're going to share some links in the description that can take you to some tutorials and stuff. But we wanted to get you guys started off on the right foot. I hope this helped. If you ever need anything from me, I'm one email away, mike@care.ly. That's my email. If you ever have questions, if you want to set something up more live or direct, happy to do another webinar like this with your team. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoy it. I promise you, families are going to love this, and your staff and your team are going to love it as well. So thank you guys so much. Keep posting. We'll see you soon. Bye now.